Hi, it is, let me see here, Friday, August 9th, about 9:30, and I'm broadcasting live and from my, obviously not really live, but this video is about, I just want to welcome people to the video about the Church of Transformation. So if you're on this web page, you may follow this web page from I don't know where. Oh, behind me. I will talk about that later. I'm making this video just to make videos at this point. I probably will at some point take this video off the internet and make a better one. But for now, I don't expect to reach a very large audience with this video. Very small group of people. And so I don't want to, if I'm going to really try to address an even larger audience, I probably want to do a video that has better quality in a bunch of ways. But the catch-22 is I'm at this point working by myself, so I have to do with what I have. And so I want to start here. I guess if you're at this web page and we're talking about the Church of Transformation, first of all, the Church of Transformation, the purpose of the Church of Transformation, or the purpose or goal or what it's about, is essentially the same as what you see back here, the World Peace Society Project. The World Peace Society Project, anybody can assist the World Peace Society Project. You don't necessarily have to be associated in any way with my church or the Church of Transformation to assist peace, obviously. And so what is the purpose of the church then? Well, the purpose of the church is, in a sense, to be a support group for what we could call your higher self, or my higher self, or anybody's higher self, the higher self. Because in a sense, you could say we all need at times support in expressing our higher selves. And that really means dealing with the inner, you could say lower self, or negative mind. I'm sort of going with these terms as they go. We get into more detail about that. But so the World Peace Society Project, the central principle there is that you can't have peace unless you are devoted to it. I can't have peace unless I'm devoted to it. So we have to be devoted to peace to have peace. And that principle is important. It's important to realize because it is also the reason that it is what makes, in the end, peace on earth possible. It makes it possible because if it wasn't connected to your own peace, there would be then nothing to stop people from saying, well, I'm just going to go off and find my own happiness and fuck everybody else. That would be the result if people, if having peace and being devoted to peace weren't connected. Now, you may doubt that they are. And of course, to some extent, we live in a world that I say is based on an inherently negative view of life. And that inherently negative view sort of causes people to say that genuine peace isn't possible in the first place. So nobody, therefore, it would be foolish if you believe that genuine peace is impossible in the first place to devote your life to peace, because you're devoting your life, therefore, to the impossible. So for the most part, people live in a negative view of the universe, you could say. A view that says people are inherently sinful, which is not part of the church, not part of any thinking involved with the Church of Transformation. We do not, the Church of Transformation does not regard human beings or anybody or anything as inherently sinful. There is no such thing as sin in the view of the Church of Transformation, which I realize is a radical idea for people, whether they're even if they don't go to church. Because even if you don't go to church, sometimes people are like, well, that's a sin. He's a sinner. I don't know. People don't usually say that, but the idea of sin doesn't have to be in that word sin. In other words, the idea of sin is something that is somehow you have something that has violated nature. Is what sin is. The nature of nature. It's a little abstract to talk about right now, and I didn't want to go into that at this point. But when we say something is man-made, and we tend to separate what humans do from nature. There's the natural, and then somehow humans are inherently we do unnatural things. This reflects this negativity, and there's a lot that people I know in their heads are going to be like, what? You know, it's like some people don't know whether they know what to believe about that, but they feel that it protects society to believe in it. In other words, the idea that we have to restrain our natural selves because our natural selves are evil. And even though they may not be religious, they believe that people are inherently evil in some way. So even though they may not use the word, use religious terminology like say that people are sinners, that's the same idea really, to say that people are inherently evil in some way, or that the only way, what defines a good person is that they are constantly day and night repressing their evilness. And that's what defines a good person, that they are constantly day and night repressing their evilness. So, see, these are some of the basic ideas that people, you could say, it's more than they live with them. They sleep with, they're sort of like, it's like they're drenched in these negative beliefs. And no wonder, in some respects, the world looks the way that it looks. Because if you're drenched in negative beliefs and negative ideas, you know, and the population is drenched in such negative thinking, no wonder the world looks as effed up as it looks. So this idea with the Peace Society Project and the idea that inner peace and world peace are connected do not agree with the negative view of the universe. And you have to realize that most people, like I said, don't believe that peace is possible because they've already got a negative view of the universe. So of course, why would they be interested? Nobody is in that state of mind is going to be interested in being devoted to peace. But what I'm suggesting is the only way that you and I can actually have peace is through being devoted to it. And that means having to work through the negativity to get there. Working through the negative belief systems that were either enculturated in us or we've picked up somehow. We have to work through that negativity. So in that respect, getting back to the question, trying to organize this, the Church of Transformation, you could say, is a support group for the higher self. And the higher self doesn't need, in a sense, anyone's support. The higher self is not negative. What the higher self needs support with is in bringing positivity, if you will, into the world. That's what the higher self needs support with. And of course, the way to do that is to realize that it's in your favor or in your advantage, because you can't be positive. If you can't be positive, there's a connection there too between the positivity and the negativity. So I'm repeating that idea. In terms of a more organizational framework, there are three, excuse me, I've written three what I call pronouncements of the Church of Transformation. And the three pronouncements are they're kind of like a starting place. If you want to give people something like, well, give me your, like, the Church of Transformation is not based on the Bible, or it's not, there's value, I think, that can be gotten from the Bible. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. There are things in the Bible which, the spirit of which are completely aligned with the higher mind, in my view. And there are probably things in the Quran that are completely aligned with the higher mind. So, but the real question is, of course, discerning what things in those books are, and if there aren't things that are in alignment with the higher self, how do we detect them? And the answer comes from being able to hear the higher self within you, which everyone, in my view, has the higher mind in them, although consciously they may be occluded from it. You have to still yourself down to hear what your higher self is thinking, you could say. So to give the Church of Transformation some sort of form, some sort of structure, and since most religions get their structure from a book, like the Bible or the Quran or something, as I see it, if the Church of Transformation is going to get more structure, and it's not necessarily going to get, what the whole point of transformation is, that you transcend form, because it is you could say that the problem is, in a sense, being or thinking you are stuck in a form, believing you are a form, in the sense that believing you are your body or a body. That's a form. Your body is obviously a form. And if you believe you are your body, then to some extent you're stuck through your belief that you are something that you are not limited to. So form is partly, in a sense, the problem. So the relationship to form is, you want to only use as much structure as is needed, no more. And you want to be willing to let go of structure when it gets in the way or isn't serving peace or transformation anymore. So the three pronouncements that I put here are a basic, you could say, anchor that sort of starts, is merely nothing more, not necessarily considered to be significant, but starting place for the Church of Transformation. So, pronouncement number one is simply, God is not a man. Now, for some people, that's radical. And so that's pronouncement number one. I won't go and talk more about them. I'll just pronounce them. Pronouncement number two, God does not hate anyone. Wow, isn't that radical? Jesus, excuse me. God does not hate anyone. Okay, so God is not a man. God does not hate anyone. Okay. And finally, this is kind of, I think, our most Zen pronouncement in the Church of Transformation. God does not want you to blindly follow anyone or anything, including the voice of God. You might say, what? Including the voice of God. Don't blindly follow anyone or anything. God does not want you to blindly follow anyone or anything, including the voice of God. So those are the three pronouncements. And the only thing I was going to add about the first one is when I say God is not a man, just to clarify that originally I thought of writing that in terms of God is not any physical thing. Not a man, not a woman, not a frog. In ancient Egypt, they used to pray to frogs. Some people did, not everybody. I don't know much about it, but I know they had frogs. And in India, they pray to monkeys, or they have a monkey god. Okay. So God is not a man. Like I said, it's just these are just starting points, and I keep them short instead of going on and on and on about all the things that God is not. God is not a man. Anyway, so that is my introduction to all of this. I could say more about the World Peace Society project and the idea that is you could say that when we say that the purpose of the Church of Transformation is nothing more than a support group for the higher self, being a support group for the higher self is absolutely and totally and completely in line with serving the goal of peace on earth. So anybody who wants to set up a support group for the higher self, that would be absolutely and completely in line with the World Peace Society project. So that's all I have to say for now, and thank you for listening to my entire thingy-bob.